demanded by the society. And when the resources are used, it has to be used in the most efficient manner, so that the society's well-being will be taken care of. So I usually in my normal lecture, this circular flow will be discussed at the end of my lecture. But here because of the we have short time, I thought it would be good if I start with this first. In an economy, we have households. Okay, households are the owners of the resources. As I mentioned just now, resources, consists of labor, okay, workers, land, capital, and entrepreneur. So households will be basically providing. In economics, we say selling because there's a value to it. We get return or payment for these resources that we have. For example, for land, we get return in terms of rent. Labor, we get wages. Capital, we get interest. This is from conventional economic perspective. Entrepreneurs, they get profit. Okay, so household be providing or selling their resources to the resource market. So who uses these resources? Basically businesses, producers. So farmers, fishermen, whoever they are in the business community, they will be using these resources. Okay, it become cost to them because they're using and it become a cost. So they use these resources for what? Basically use these resources to produce goods and services. Okay, they produce goods and services, not only goods, services as well. When we say services, it can be bus service that we take, taxi or restaurant, and all these are included as services. Goods, we know what it is. So when businesses produce goods and services, they get revenues, right? So you see in this diagram, the outer part arrow, the green color, are the reward or the return for what the economic agents are getting. For example, like what are the costs or what are the revenues and so on. And then when these resources are used to produce goods and services, who is going to utilize this? Households or whoever is demanding for these products. It may not be household alone. It can be businesses also purchasing some of because it depends on inputs, whether it's raw materials or it is intermediate goods or it's final goods. Final goods, definitely it will be by households. So this is how the economy runs. This is the market mechanism, how it functions. When there's no, when this, the mechanism is functioning effectively, then the economy will be run in the best way, and the society's well-being will be at the maximum level. So this is a summarized version of we call it the circular flow model. Okay, and I also like to start with this also, just to give you a summary. What microeconomic study or theory covers basically in a particular course? What are the areas that are covered? Microeconomics basically have, the way I look at it, it's divided into three, maybe four, but I will say it's three. You can see the three different colors that I have highlighted: market, market structure, and resource market. So the emphasis, if you see, a lot of discussion is on the market itself. Okay, market is where the goods and services are produced. So the way the market function will be depending on the economic system that particular country is adapting or implementing, whether it's a capitalist system, is socialist system, Islamic economic system, or mixed economy, or what. Okay, so depending on the economic system, it will determine the efficiency, the way the resources are allocated, and how the products are distributed, and so on. Okay, how the economic agents will be functioning also will be dependent on economic system. So understanding the economic system is also very important, and it's part of the discussion that we have in the microeconomics course usually. So under the market, we have demand and supply. That's a basic one. That's about market. In the market, we have demand and supply. We have consumers and producers. That's the topic that we'll be discussing after this. And then we have consumer behavior. basically consumer behavior is about how consumer decide with the resources they have in their hand, the money that they have. They want to buy various things, and with the assumption of the consumers want to maximize their satisfaction in the conventional economic theory. How with the prices for the products and the services. So they have three things here. You have consumers who have the resources, money, and then the product have cost, that is price, and then the consumers have desires in terms of preferences, what they like. They like apple or oranges. So with these three components, how they then decide to buy what products and how many products that they will buy. So this is what essentially what we discussed, or what the theory on consumer behavior is all about. And then we have elasticity. Elasticity is very important concept, policy-wise as well. A lot of policies have failed, especially when the policymakers do not understand the concept of elasticity. What is elasticity? Basically, we know in the market, price changes. Price go up and go down. And in response to the changes in the price, consumers and also producers or sellers will respond to the change in the price. So, so when I say so that's basically elasticity about. It's about elastic means this: how responsive is the consumers and producers when price changes in the market. So when we talk about responding to change in the price, policy done by the government can also have effect on prices. For example, cigarettes. Government impose excise tax on cigarettes. So what happens when there's a tax? The price of cigarette will go up. Okay. Now, if we do not understand the nature of the elasticity of the consumer's demand for cigarette, such policy may not be effective. By increasing the price using tax, will the consumption of cigarette reduce? Okay, so this is something that needs to be thought about, because when it's too expensive, what will be the implication, and whether there's any impact on the consumption of cigarette or not. So understanding elasticity of demand and also supply is very important, not only for the businesses. Okay, businesses also, when they do sale, where they want to increase the price, they want to reduce the price, they want to give discount, they need to understand the elasticity of demand. So, and also supply, so that whatever decision they are making will be effective. So that's on elasticity. I don't think that's covered in this particular course, probably, but those who are interested in extending further in case they want to go further, elasticity is a very interesting topic. And then market failure. Because in conventional economics, they assume that when there's no interference in the market, when government don't interfere, you just allow the market forces to function, the market will function effectively. There will be efficiency. I will be discussing that also. However, there are certain products, like for example, products that have public products like schools, hospitals. If you expect market to produce, it will not be there. So there should be government intervention or some kind of other external intervention to make sure the product is available. And sometimes certain products, I will also discuss this later in the market discussion, how market can fail. I think there will be also a discussion in detail by Dr. Husna on related to environment. So you will be seeing that discussion in market failure. So also it is one of the topics that I really like. It's very interesting. So that's on market. And then market structure. Market structure is about how different industries or businesses are classified and differentiated based on the degree of competition in the market. There are four types. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. Basically, there are four types. Perfect competition, where it is assumed there's really pure, perfect competition in the market. And then we have monopolistic competition, monopoly and oligopoly. Okay, so this is and how the firms will behave and how they, to what extent, what are the quantity of products they produce, what are the prices they charge, and things like that will be discussed in market structure. And then we have resource market. Resource market is about also similar to market for goods and services. It's demand and supply for labor, demand and supply for capital and land will decide the prices and also quantity produced in a particular market. That's on resource market, basically factors of production. And then we also have discussion on and it's other topics that are not really covered, but it's also very important in microeconomics at foundation level, related to international trade, okay, agriculture economics, health economics, energy, and many others. Okay, so basically this is the coverage in microeconomics theory. Okay, so now we go into the introduction itself. Usually at introduction, we discuss on the basic foundation, why there is, this studies on economics, especially microeconomics. Now, the foundation of economic analysis, especially microeconomics, is based on two fundamental facts. One, we know as a consumer, as a human being, as a society, our material wants are unlimited. Of course, in Islam, I will discuss that later. We have to constrain that within our, the Islamic Sharia and Islamic principles. When we say unlimited, then we can be doing anything. That's not right. But generally, what it means is that our wants are. When we say our wants are unlimited, when we have, let's say, a small car. So as our income goes up, we want a bigger car, for example. Okay, so as we want more and more, if possible, that's a human nature. Okay, so that's a human nature in terms of wants, it's unlimited. But to meet these wants, we need resources, and these resources are scarce. Whether it's money in your pocket, whether it is land, it's capital, or in terms of workers, and so on. And natural resources like oil, plantations and things like that. Mining, all the other things like steel and all kind of other stuff. All these resources are scarce. When we say resources, as I mentioned earlier, is include land, capital, labor, and entrepreneurship. Now, so when we have human wants that are unlimited, resources that are scarce, then we have the problem of scarcity. Okay? So the economic study is about this. How, with the limited resources, we're going to satisfy the unlimited wants of the human being. Okay, that's basically the idea. Every topics that we go through in microeconomics will be coming back to this conclusion. How efficient is the resources being utilized? There are two assumptions. We assume that we have to assume this, otherwise it's difficult to do analysis. We assume that human beings are rational, they have rational behavior. And it is also assumed that consumers, when they want to consume something, they want to maximize their own satisfaction. When you buy something, this is from conventional economic theory. When they buy something, they want to satisfy their wants, whatever their own satisfaction. If I buy apple, that's because I like the apple, not because someone else liked the apple. But unless it's a family matter, we're talking about individuals. So we want to, when we consume, we want to maximize our own satisfaction. Producers, when they produce, they sell, they want to maximize profit. Okay. So this is the basic assumptions that are being used for developing the theory. So it is important to understand that when we say rational self-interest, it is not the same as selfishness. Self-interested behavior is simply behaving in such a way that they want to increase their personal satisfaction. That's what it means. It doesn't mean selfish. Okay, and we're also talking about relative scarcity and not absolute scarcity. Okay. Now, given this, that resources are scarce and human wants are unlimited, every time we have to make choices. Even time, we only have 24 hours. You have to make choices, whether you want to sleep or you want to study, or you want to pray or you want to watch movie. You want to go to mosque or you want to pray at home. These are choices we have to all the time have to make, because we have time that are limited. So when we are making choices, we have to make sacrifice. When we say sacrifice, when I get this, I have to forgo this. I cannot get everything in life. So that's what we mean by choices and sacrifice. in economics, we call this as opportunity cost. So it is one very important part of the microeconomic theory is the theory of opportunity cost, because everything that we do, there's opportunity cost. Okay, there's choices have to be made. So economic study is about these choices. Okay, and how these choices need to be made to ensure there's efficiency, the resources are allocated in the best manner as possible. So when we are talking about sacrifice or opportunity cost, we are making choices, and these choices are made by assumption, made in a rational way, and therefore we call it as rational choices. Okay, when we say what we mean by rational choices? Rational choices is every time that you want to make a decision on something, on an action that you want to make, whether it's a consumption or in the production or in the labor market or whatever, the decision has to weigh what is the additional. When you say marginal in economics, it means additional. What is the additional benefit that I'm going to get by consuming, let's say I want to buy Apple, okay, compared to, let's say I want to, we have cake and we have apple. If I buy apple, more apple, I have to sacrifice cake because I have limited resources. So when I want to buy apple, in this case, I must consider what is the additional benefit that I'm going to get by having additional apple. What is the additional cost? How much is the price? Okay, so we, as a consumer or producer or resource owners, we always make rational choices, weighing between what is the additional benefit that we're going to get by that decision and what is the additional cost. So that is what we mean by rational choices. Okay. Now, as I mentioned just now, we have resources. When we are using the resources, regardless of whether it's consumers or producers or resource owners, these resources must be used in a most efficient and optimal way. All right. So the key word in the study of microeconomics is efficiency. Efficiency. Okay, it's very important. So in any topic that you discuss, we'll be always coming back to optimality, efficiency, optimality, efficiency. Okay, this is keyword in microeconomics. So efficiency in economics can be divided into two when we are using the resources. One is full production. So it's related to production. So basically it means where resources are utilized in such a way that it provides maximum satisfaction of human or society's materials want. Okay. So full production is divided into two. One is productive efficiency. Productive comes from the word production. So it means that when the economy is producing some products or services, the methods used must be very efficient. Why is it important? When the technology, the method used in production is the best, the most efficient, then the cost of production will be the lowest. When the cost of production is the lowest, then the producer can sell the product at the lowest price. So when the producers are selling at the lowest price, what is the benefit of it? The benefit is the society will get the products and services at the lowest cost possible. So productive efficiency is about the lowest cost possible, basically utilizing the best technology available to produce goods and services at the lowest cost possible, least cost possible. So having products and services produced at the lowest cost will actually bring about society's well-being. Welfare will be maximized because we are paying for goods and services at the lowest price. So consumer will benefit. Producers also, when they produce at the lowest cost, they will have higher profit. So that's productive efficiency. Another part of full production is allocative efficiency. Allocative, the word comes from allocation. It means when the available resources are used to produce goods and services, the goods and services produced must be what the society wants most. If the society wants rice, but the resources are used to produce wheat, will the society's wants achieved? No, it will not be fulfilling the society's want. We want to rice, but whatever resources available in the country is used to produce wheat. So this wheat is maybe sold at a higher price, maybe exported or what. The people don't eat wheat that much. They eat rice. So where are they going to get the rice? Maybe they have to import. The price will be high. They don't get what they want. They go to the shop. There's not much rice available and things like that. So they are not getting what they want most. So therefore, when we say allocative efficiency, it means the resources available in the market must be utilized in such a manner that it will be achieving the maximum benefits or fulfilling the society's needs and wants. Okay, so that's for production related to allocation of the products and also the efficiency of the production itself. Another part which is important in the efficiency is full employment. In economics, this is a very important assumption. It is assumed that all available resources must be fully utilized. There shouldn't be any unemployed resources. If you have $10, you have to spend that $10. If it's allocated for the consumption, you spend all that money. If you have 10 acres land, all the 10 acres land must be utilized. Okay, so that's what we mean by full employment. So coming back, what is important discussion here is that in the economy, because of the limited resources, there's an issue of scarcity because human wants are unlimited and resources are scarce, and therefore choices have to be made. And these choices have to be made in such a manner that the resources are utilized in a most efficient way. Efficiency is very important in economic decision. Okay, so that's the basic concept. When we do the proper full semester course, usually we use the concept of production possibility curve to explain the concept of efficiency, how the resources are utilized in producing two goods, how the opportunity cost concept will be, explained using production possibility curve. But we are not going to do that because we don't have much time, and I think it's not really relevant for a general knowledge course like certificate course. Okay, I think it's very important for us to analyze whatever I've said earlier from the Islamic perspective. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, what is the core problem of the economics? Scarcity. Okay, and how do we see this from Islamic perspective? In Islam, the core problem is
recording in progress.
Must use knowledge, improve technical know-how and methods, basically to find ways to find where the resources are and also improve. You see, United States never had petroleum. Today, look at them. Because of the technology they have produced, they are now one of the major producers of petroleum. They don't really depend on import on petroleum, because they have the technology. And we also have seen how in Qatar and in United Arab Emirates, a country which is hot, desert, they are now producing vegetables and also. Okay, so all depends on the technical know-how, technology that we have, how we are actually allocating our resources to make sure that we are utilizing the resources in the best manner. So therefore, we know that as a human being, we are created with natural greed and selfishness. Okay, so one of the reasons why there's a scarcity is not only the way we are using the resources, but also our own material ones. How we can actually control or limit our needs and wants. Okay, so we as a human being is accepted that we have some selfishness and we have emotions, we have desires. But what is important is Allah has actually given us guidelines on how to behave, how to consume, how to practice our daily life, and therefore it is important to curtail the desire and wants. And when we are taking any decision, is basically we have to believe that we have to know that the objective is to get the blessings of Allah and also to attain the falah. When you say falah, it means success not only on earth, whatever activities that we are doing, but it's also achieving success in the hereafter. So therefore, in Islam, it's not just about consuming for ourselves. It is also important to think that when we consume, we are also consuming for others, and also the available resources some of it must be allocated for charitable giving, for example, infaq, zakat, and wakaf. So we know that the world is a place for test. The test is how the resources that are endowed to us are redistributed and shared to ensure the society gets what they need and permissible in Islam, and also fulfill the basic needs of the human being and the society. So in terms of decision making, and because economic theory is about decision making. So in terms of decision making, we have to strive to satisfy the society's needs by all the means that we have. So economic decisions, therefore, have to be made by taking into account its implication to other human beings, other countries, environment, animal, and all other creation of Allah. So Islam does acknowledge human needs and desires. So what emphasized, however, is the way and means of achieving them. It must be within defined limits of Islamic rules with the intention of attaining Allah's blessing. So therefore, decision-making in utilizing resources, therefore, must intend to establish harmony between moral and material needs. Okay, we acknowledge there's a material needs, but they also, we have to take into account of the moral needs as well. So when we are balanced in this, then inshallah, the world will be a wonderful place to live, and the resources will be utilized in the best manner, and societies will be getting what they want most, and their welfare will be maximized. I think this is my last slide. Oh, there's another slide. Okay, I just finished this slide. So therefore, Islam calls for maximum exploitation of economic resources, and as a consequence, there should be minimum wastage. This is consistent with the conventional economic theory that we have discussed earlier. So the requirement for efficient allocation of resources is clearly stated in the Quran and also Hadith, where in Surah An-Nisa, verse 5, just mentioned that, and do not hand over the possession to those weak of understanding your economic resources, which Allah has made a means of support for you, but feed and clothe them therewith, and speak to them words of kindness. And Hadith by Muslim mentioned that every landlord should farm his land, but if he cannot do that, he should let his brother farm it. So obviously, people who are good at certain things must be given the responsibility and opportunity to do it, and there shouldn't be any exploitation in the resources available, and the resources must be utilized in the best manner and efficient manner. Okay, so it is important to note that the resources must be allocated to produce and consume goods and services that are permitted by Sharia. Okay, so that will be 35 minutes. I think so I end here. Zara, are you there?
Yes, bro.
Okay, so my plan is, I don't know, I leave it to you, whether you want, we have 10 minutes, whether open for, okay, I have to stop sharing, whether we open for question and answer, or I start another lecture, And then we have,
Maybe we can start another lecture if you're okay.
Okay,
Maybe you can
okay.
take a few minutes break if you would like to, and then we only open for Q&A at the end of your second lecture.
I think I don't need break. Inshallah, I will be able to cover another lecture. And then we have question and answer. Inshallah, we have about 10 minutes or so to have question and answer. I think that's better. We can collect the questions. Thank you, Zara.
All right.
Okay. All right. So market from Islamic perspective. So this is very important. Okay. Basically, what we have discussed in the first lecture just now about the utilization of resources, we can see how it is functions in the market. Okay. Anywhere we go, how remote the area is, somehow human beings, when they interact, especially in meeting their needs, somehow there will be some kind of transaction taking place. It may not be in a market that we understand today, but whenever there's a transaction between human beings, that is a market basically. All right. So a market, according to Al-Ghazali, evolved due to natural forces. It is part of natural order of things, because when we want something, we will go and search for it. So it's a natural thing because we are in need of material things. And as such, it is an expression of self-motivated human desires to voluntarily satisfy our mutual economic needs. Okay. So market, therefore, is an actual place where buyers and sellers engage either face-to-face. Today we have online marketing, online purchasing and so on. So anyway, it is bargaining in whether you like it or not. Even in Shopee or Lazada, we will be looking for where the prices are the cheapest, what are the rating and all that. That's basically bargaining. Yeah? So whether it's done online or whether it's done face-to-face, whenever there's interaction between buyers and sellers in exchanging goods and services, we call that as market. So basically, market is a place where there is a mechanism by which buyers and sellers can determine price. So when they exchange goods and services, price is determined. So price is very important, as I will be discussing the next slide. So what market does is it's constantly solving the questions, economic, what we call as economic questions in economy. What are the questions? Whenever we want to make economic decision, there are three questions that we always ask. What I want to buy or what I want to produce, and how I'm going to do it, and for whom I'm doing this. So these are the three key economic questions that everybody has. Even the government have to ask this question. They have these resources, what I want to do with it, how I'm going to do with it, and for whom. So these are the three economic questions. So basically, market is solving these three economic questions constantly. So the market forces will balance this, the market activities. Okay, market forces will basically balance what is needed in the economy. And markets are finding an equilibrium of supply and demand. Okay, so in the market, we have consumers. Consumers represent demand. We have producers or sellers, they represent supply. So in the market, we have sellers and buyers, demand and supply. Okay. So in Islam, market is an important area, is an important platform. That is where the transaction important transactions are taking place to achieve to basically satisfy human needs. And this transaction must be done in honest way and trustworthy way. A market that functions effectively is where people have trust, confidence. So that can only achieve when there's honesty and trustworthiness. Okay, and this is important in Islam. And without this, a market will fail. When there's no moral values, market, how efficient it is also, it will be breaking down. You'll have market failures. So in Islam, when we do transaction, there should be mutual consent. Mutual consent is a necessary condition for acceptable transactions. Buyers and sellers must willfully consider the interests of one another in the pursuit to achieve personal interest. This is also another important characteristics of a successful and efficient market. So whenever we are buying or selling, it has to take into account of what is the impact of our action. Okay, we want to achieve our personal interests, but what would be the impact on others? When this is always considered, inshallah, the market will be the best, will be functioning in a very, balanced and efficient manner. So trading must also satisfy, therefore, trading must satisfy three interrelated conditions. If you look at conventional theory, they just look into personal benefits, demand and supply. Consumers go to the market because they want to satisfy their own satisfaction. Producers, they are selling, or sellers, they are selling the products because they want to maximize their profit. So that's personal benefits. There's nothing wrong with that. But what it is important as well to make sure the market functions well is what is the external benefits? What are the impact of our transaction, social benefits? The social benefit is very important to be taken into account. And in Islam, this has been emphasized. Another important component of a successful market is fairness. When the price, as a consumers, we also have to be fair to the seller, and the seller also has to be fair to the consumer. So when fairness is there in the market, then inshallah the market will be functioning well. So in terms of profit making is allowed, but should reflect a compassionate and benevolent nature. Market operated with compassion and benevolence will have different results than the one driven by profit and self-satisfaction. So from conventional perspective, the market is driven by profit maximization. That is okay, but what is also important is the sellers must also have compassion and benevolence when they're setting the price. Fairness, fair pricing is very important in Islam, so that there's no exploitation. So therefore, the welfare of the consumers, welfare of the society will be taken into account in any decision, will be achieved. So a profit-driven trading encourages unhealthy competition. What we see today in our real life partly is because of this basic attitude of profit-driven activities. There can be envy and enmity. Hence, in an Islamic setting, the ultimate goal is engaging in any transactions to achieve the blessings of Allah. And also, when we talk about profit, not only profit in this world to live in this world, but also in what we're going to gain in the hereafter. Price is very important in market. Okay, in Islam we talk about fair pricing. But anyway, when there's a demand and supply, a price will be set. So if the market were to operate freely without any external interference, price plays an important role in coordinating the market mechanism. Okay, in Islam, freedom of trade and operation of market forces are highly encouraged. And market is allowed to set prices. So prices basically give signals to producers and consumers. Now, consumers, when they want to buy more, for example, like Eid, you want to buy, let's say, mutton, you finally find that the mutton price is going up because Eid is nearing, or that was the Eid season. So the prices of, I'm using bus as service here, but I'm changing, let's say use mutton, for example. So when the price is high, the producers will know, oh, okay, so there are more people going to buy the meat, mutton, so I better go and get supply for this. So the price will give signal to the suppliers to go and, because for producers, they are looking for profit. They want to sell more to get more money, more profit. So whenever price is high, they're very happy. So they're going to get, more supply. So even though demand has gone up because of Eid, But because suppliers want to make profit, they see the price is high during the season, they're going to get more supply. So the market will be balanced, even though the equilibrium price will be high, but consumers, when they go to market, they get what they want. What we don't want is the market to have shortages, the market to have overstocks, for example, or surplus. So we will go to market to buy something, we must get what we want. We come back with whatever we want to buy, and that will basically means our social well-being, our economic well-being is already taken care of by the market. Okay, so if you go to the market, you want to buy mutton, they say, okay, finish. You want to buy oil, petroleum, finish. So it means the market is not functioning well. It's not the demand, there's something wrong with the demand and supply. Market is not effective, efficient. Okay, so when consumers go, they must be able to go to the market to buy something, they must be getting. Similarly for producers, okay? So producers, when they bring something to sell, they should be able to sell everything. If there's a surplus, then it means they should do something to get rid of this surplus. Okay, when commodity become overstocked, what they should do? They reduce the price. That's why in some seasons, for example, fruits are very cheap because there's so much of supply. And that's a fruit season for, let's say, mango. Okay, there's so much mango in the market. So if they keep on selling at high price during the normal season, the mangoes will not be sold because there's so much mangoes available. So they can go and get somewhere, which is consumers can go somewhere else to get cheaper prices. So when there's unsold products in the market, surplus in economics we call it, what the producer should do is to reduce the price. So by reducing the price, what happened? As a consumer, I'm happy, the price is cheap, so I buy more. So consumers will demand more. And when consumers buy more, whatever surplus that available in the market will start to decline. Okay, so slowly there will be equilibrium, there will be balance. So consumers are getting what at a cheaper price, they buy a lot more. Sellers are able to sell more too. So basically the market equilibrium is restored. There's no surplus. So this is how when prices play its role as a balanced wheel in the market. Okay, prices are the balanced wheel in the market mechanism. It's basically it will balance the markets to make sure the market is always in equilibrium. See, what is true for the market for the consumer good is also true for the factors of production, such as land, capital, and labor. Okay, so price play an important role. Therefore, in Islam also, price is the level of price that is put in the market is actually emphasized. It should be fair price, and also how the price interference are. I will discuss that later. Whether whether the government or the authority can actually intervene in the price or not. So the key is in Islam, price should be set by the market freely without much interference unless it is necessary. Okay, so price plays an important role in market mechanism. Okay, so the next slide is basically to show, this is a lot of graphs. In economics, we have to have numbers and graphs, but I minimize this and make it the simplest possible way. I try to make it in a very simple way. So when we talk about market equilibrium in economic theory, basically it means demand equal to supply. That's what we mean by market equilibrium. Okay. Of course, in real life, I think we all have gone to market, and when we see a price tags in the supermarket or in the market or in the roadside, everywhere, we see a price tag. When you look at it, you say, oh, okay. When you decide to buy, let's say you want to buy chicken, and per kilo is 10 ringgit. Okay, I'm using Malaysian currency, 10 ringgit. And you think it's a fair price because that is the market price. So you buy it. But if it is 20 ringgit per kilo, in another market, will you buy it? You will not buy it. You see, oh, this is not the market price. This is too high. So what is the price that you think is okay? When you feel the price is okay, it means that is the equilibrium price in the market. It's acceptable price in the market. And we call that as equilibrium price. How this price is determined? This price is determined by demand and supply. What is demand? Basically, demand in economics basically means we have level of prices. Usually, these figures that you see is, of course, is hypothetical numbers, but it is actually through survey and research. It's not just, the number is just put for the sake of putting it. Research are being done. So many research has been done. That's why we have law of demand. The law of demand is actually is determined after extensive research on consumers' behavior, on buying some products or goods or services. So what the law of demand says is that whenever price is high, consumers will buy less. I mean, that's basically obvious. We all understand as laymen, we know that when things are cheap, when things are expensive, we buy less. When things are cheap, we buy more. So there is a negative relationship between price and quantity demanded. Okay, so you see this gray line in the graph. To put it simply, of course, there's an explanation why there's a negative relationship between price and quantity demanded, but I'm not going to go into that. But basically, what we easily can understand is that there is a negative relationship between price and quantity demanded. What is negative relationship? What does that mean? It means that whenever the relationship between two, in this, we have two variables. What are the variables? Price, quantity demanded. When the relationship between, theory is about relationship, and in economic theory, when we talk about relationship, okay, it's always two variables. We cannot have too many. That's why we have assumptions in theory. So in this law of demand, you only have two variables, price, quantity demanded for one product. If it is shoes, price of shoes, quantity demanded for shoes. If it is apple, price of apple, quantity demanded for apple. So if the price of apple go up, quantity demanded go down. Okay. If price of apple go down, quantity demanded go up. You see the arrow is, my hand is showing a different direction. So when you have different direction like this, it means it have negative relationship. So when you have negative relationship, you see the graph is downward sloping, showing that when the price is high, quantity is low. When price is low, sorry, this $1, $1, quantity is high. $5, quantity is low. So the graph is downward sloping. On the right-hand side, we have data on quantity supply. S here means supply, D here means demand. Sorry for the short forms. So here, again, through the survey and research, okay, interviews or whatever, so we find that we get data on price and quantity supplied. Let's say for shoes. Now, we can see from here, from this data, that at different prices, different quantities are supplied. Okay, so as a producer or seller, the motivation they have is to maximize profit. This is from conventional perspective. So when they find that price is high, they are happy, they make more money, so they supply more. If the price is low at $1, they are not happy, so they sell more. I mean, I'm putting in a very simple way. So basically, price is revenue. Price is motivation for producers. When price is high, supply more. Price is low, supply less. Simple as that. So you see supply curve, the red line here, S is supply curve, D is demand curve. So it is upward sloping. Upward sloping means the relationship is positive. Price is high, quantity is high. Price is low, quantity is low. Okay, so you see the direction is positive. So when you have positive relationship, supply curve is upward sloping. So we have supply curve, demand curve at different prices. So when they intersect in this point, so you have equilibrium price. So here you see, I put a red circle, price $3, P is price, $3. quantity demanded is 7,000, or in this case is corn. I'm using all kind of product. I'm sorry, different products I'm using here is actually corn. I used shoes just now. Price is $3, quantity is 7,000. This is for demand. Supply $3 and 7,000. You see, the number is same, 3 and 3 for supply and demand. Quantity is also the same. So when they intersect, that's what it means. At the market price that consumers and producers are willing to sell and buy, okay, there's equilibrium. At $3, and the quantity will be 7,000. What 7,000 means? If the sellers are selling $7,000, consumers come and buy all the 7,000 bushels of corn, and the market has no any balance available. So producers are happy because whatever corn they bring into the market are all sold. Consumers are also happy because they come to the market, they get whatever corn they want for that day or for that week. All sold, halas, okay? So that's what we mean by equilibrium. Equilibrium here is you have equilibrium price, equilibrium quantity. All right? These are demand is a supply. Now, when there is equilibrium in the market, it means the resources are allocated efficiently. How? Because at $3, what it means is that, okay, there is productive efficiency. $3, productive efficiency. What does that mean? You remember productive efficiency means what? Productive efficiency means producing goods and services at the lowest cost possible. So it means consumers are getting at $3 per bushel of corn. That is the lowest price they can get in the market, the best price. Okay, the cost is the lowest for producers. Okay, so consumers are getting the lowest price. And this 7,000 here, this 7,000 means consumers are getting what they are looking for. Their social well-being is taken care of. Okay, so whatever they want, in this case is corn, they already got what they want. There's allocative efficiency. This is the optimal quantity. There is no case where they go to the market, they want to buy corn, there's no corn. It's not such thing when there's equilibrium. So when the market is in equilibrium, there's allocative efficiency. Society gets what they want most. If they want corn, they get what they want. So in that sense, what I'm trying to say here is that there are three important points here. When market is in equilibrium, there's equilibrium quantity, equilibrium price, that is $3. There's equilibrium quantity, $7,000. And when market is in equilibrium, resources are allocated efficiently. You see the word is efficient. So market equilibrium also means efficiency. What kind of efficiency? Allocative efficiency. Okay, and also productive efficiency. All right. So market is in, that is the importance of market. So market forces functions, price is determined, at the same time resources are allocated efficiently. All right. Now, this one I thought I want to bring in the discussion here. It looks a bit crowded, but it's not difficult. Now, this one I want to show. Sometimes certain products, the market price is not, I cannot say it's not fair, but it is causing trouble. It is not a price that either consumer or producers deem right. Let's say, for example, petroleum. When there's a Ukraine war, a Ukraine-Russia war, what happened to the oil price, petroleum price? Petroleum price went very, very high. If you look at market price in Malaysian ringgit, I'm looking from, I can easily use Malaysian ringgit as a, I mean, for me, that's my comfortable, because I'm going to bring the market intervention, government intervention here. Okay, the market price for petroleum, let's say, is 6 ringgit per liter in market, world market, 6 ringgit. But that is too high, even though it's the equilibrium price, but it's too high. When oil price is high, everything become expensive. Goods and services, costs of production will be very high, and therefore as a consumer we have to pay very, very high price for goods and services. And that can cause inflation. And then later, this is macroeconomics over here, inflation, recession, these are all macroeconomics that later Dr. Nizam will be explaining, giving you the introduction. So it can cause negative impact on the economy. So for that, in this case, the equilibrium price may not be the right price. Therefore, this justifies government's intervention. Okay, right. There are two types of prices. One is price floor, the other one is price ceiling. So let me discuss on price ceiling first, because I started using the example of petroleum just now. Let's say, as I told you just now, the market price, just now petroleum, the real world, 6 ringgit, right? But if I were to use this graph as an example, let's say the market price is $3. In this case is corn. If I use petroleum, let's say it's $3 per US dollars, US dollars $3 per liter. I'm not using corn as example, I'm using petroleum so that you can see the rationale of it. Let's say $3 per liter is very expensive. And government feel that with this $3, it can cause inflation and recession, and consumers will face hardship. Okay, so what government can do? Government set a price below the market equilibrium price. In this case is $2. So therefore it's called as price ceiling. Why price ceiling? Even though it's below the demand equilibrium price. Ceiling because the price cannot go beyond 2. It has to be below 2. Above 2 is illegal. Government can take action. Okay, that's why it's called price ceiling. So $2. All right. So when there's a price ceiling, okay, according to the economic theory, when government set, okay, before that, for price ceiling, you can see the objective. Objective is to assist consumers. All right, consumers, not producers, consumers. What's the impact? The impact is, according to the economy, it can cause shortages. Why shortages? Because at price $2, okay, price $2, okay, you see the yellow circle here, $2, this is supply, $2, the supply, this I'm using petroleum, let's say 4,000 liters, $2, 4,000 liters supply. Demand, when price is low, as a consumer, you are happy, right? You buy more, so 11,000. Demand is 11,000. Supply is 4,000. Okay, so supply is less than demand. In economics, the real term is quantity demanded and quantity supply. So there will be shortage. See the graph here, $2, this is supply, and this is demand. The graph is not correct because I took from the textbook, so it's a bit doesn't reflect the real number. So this is 4,000. Supposed to be this one, supposed to be 11,000. Okay, so shortage is how much? Shortage is 7,000 liters of petroleum. Okay, there will be shortage. But in real world, in Malaysia, it's common. We have this price ceiling for petroleum. Price is lower than the world market price. It's much, much lower because we are oil producing country. We don't see shortage because government solved this problem by importing. But this one, in the graph, you'll find that, there's a shortage. But in the real world, government can solve this problem of shortage by importing or producing more. Okay, therefore there's no shortage. But based on theory, there will be shortage. Okay, right. I go down to price floor. Price floor is where the government intervene in the market and set the price above the market price. Okay, and we call that price floor because $4 is the minimum price. Anything higher than 4 is okay, below illegal. You must sell at above 4. Usually this is for the farm products, fish related products, and fishermen, basically to help government and fishermen and farmers. Okay. What is the implication? At $4, you see the red circle, demand 4,000, supply 10,000, supply more than demand. When supply more than demand, we call this as surplus, overstock. Okay. This is a common practice, not so much in developing countries, but it is a common policy implemented in developed countries, especially in Europe and US for agricultural products. Okay. In Malaysia, we do this for fishermen, to help the fishermen, but not so much. But it's very rampant in developed countries to assist the farmers because they have certain policies to help the farmers. The farmers are very rich in developed countries. So, okay, I don't want to go into that so much. It can be another lecture on agricultural policies, international agricultural policy. But anyway, in Europe and US, because of this price floor for agricultural products, what happened? There's a surplus. When there's a surplus, they have to get rid of the surplus. There's so much products. These are all agricultural products like egg, butter, milk, and wheat, and sugar, all kind of stuff. So much of surplus. What they do with it? There are two policies. One is export the products. Number two, create industries that use these products. For example, if there's a surplus of milk, then they should encourage industries using milk like butter, cheese, and so on, that uses milk, yogurt, and that kind of stuff. If it's wheat, then it has to be bakeries and bread and that kind of stuff. Okay, so basically create industries domestically, and to support these industries, give divert this surplus into these industries. Export also is being done, but you must remember in developed countries, costs of production for agriculture product is very high. As a result, when the government want to get rid of this surplus by exporting, what they do? They give subsidy, export subsidy. And that's why in the world today, the agricultural product, if you look at the price trend in the international market, it is downward trending. Okay, so agriculture product price is downward trending. What does that mean? It means there's a lot of dumping of agriculture product by the developed countries in the developing countries. As a result, our farmers are facing problem in selling their own products. Our market is swarmed by products from developed countries. So this is one of the important issues in World Trade Organization that has been very sticky and very sensitive and still disputed until today. Okay, even though there are solutions, quote unquote solutions have been done under the agreement on agriculture, but still it's not sufficient to solve the problem. Okay, so anyway, coming back to this one, what we can see here is government do intervene in the market, basically intervene to make sure to assist, they don't intervene for their own purpose, but basically to assist either consumers or producers. Now, the question is, can prices be set in Islam? Okay. Basically, Islamic economy is basically encourages free market. Even Prophet, he limited interference in the market, especially if the action could affect public interest. When Prophet was asked to intervene in setting prices in the market, he said, "I will not set such precedents. Let the people carry on their activities and benefit mutually." Okay. Nevertheless, government's intervention in the market is justified in exceptional cases to protect public interests, but must make sure the price is a just price. So fixation of price by merchants, not by the government, by merchants, with the objective of making huge profit is prohibited. There were cases during Prophet time where a few merchants went outside the city. They were, products are coming from outside the cities into the market in the city. So these few merchants purchase all these products. Objective is they buy at a low price. So when products go into the market, there will be sort of shortage, So when these merchants come in and they sell at a high price. They make huge profit. So this kind of price fixation is condemned by Islam because it causes harm and hardship to the society. So that's in terms of fixing price. I like to discuss a little bit on the market failure because this is also related to the market. This particular topic will be discussed in more detail by Dr. Husna later in one of the lectures. Her specialization is on environmental economics, so she will go detail on it. But I just go on surface because I want to relate to the discussion on market. Now, when we say market failure, it means that there's some kind, the market, the transaction that's happening in the market is causing harm to the third party, or there are external benefits that are created, but the person who create that benefit are not getting reward for that. So therefore, it's called externalities. There's an external party, so therefore it's called externalities, where the benefits or cost of market activities are borne by some third party that is external to the market transaction, where these externalities are passed to someone other than the immediate buyer or seller. There are two types of externalities, positive. One is, there are two types of externalities. Number one, positive externalities or spillover benefits. This can be caused by consumers or producers, or negative externalities or spillover costs that can be caused by consumers or producers. So in Islam, any market transaction that could harm a third party or the society is condemned. And it is seen as a morality failure because, especially the negative externalities, when it harms a third party, then it means there's something wrong with the morality of the people that causes this. If a product or service has positive externalities to the society, then this is encouraged and should be provided and made available, especially in this case, justifies government intervention or government provision of the product. Like, for example, like hospitals, it has positive externalities. But if you expect the market to provide hospitals at a low price, at very low price, or even free, that will never happen unless there are some NGOs, even that is not enough. So therefore, when there is a need for this, government should intervene, either by giving subsidy or even providing government, hospitals for free. So in Islamic economic system, ethics and amanah is very important, especially in terms of utilization of resources. And market actors must constantly contemplate the existence of Allah in all the daily activities and be conscious about the impact of the activities on others. So whenever we are doing something, it's not just for our own purpose, but we must remember there will be impact on others. So public interest is very important concept in Islam. I just want to show this, example. I always tell my students, imagine this. You have a neighbor, all right? This is by consumers. One neighbor plants, flowers and clean the, neighbor's area, even their own house, and making place beautiful. Not only their house, but also neighbor's house. Around the surrounding, they plant flowers and trees and so on. So that's one kind of person. And then you have another neighbor who throws away rubbish and, have cats and dogs and monkeys and whatever animals in their house, so dirty and messed up, throw the rubbish everywhere. So you compare these two. So what is the impact on others? So the first example is the case of positive externalities created by consumers. Okay, how others are benefiting from this. They don't have to pay. They have no cost, nothing. But when they come out from their house, they see beautiful things around them. So that's positive externalities created by consumers. On the other hand, the second example that I've mentioned is negative externalities. You know, as a neighbor, you will have a miserable life, smelly, dirty, mosquitoes and rats and all kind of animals coming to your house and the surrounding area, causing trouble, causing uneasiness and so on. So that's negative externalities produced by consumers. Consumers, and this is not producers. Both are in the case of consumers. This one, I just want to show you example. This happens around us, especially in developing countries. Okay, where this is why we say it's a morality failure when this external costs created by producers, they want to reduce their costs, so therefore they transfer some of the cost to the society by their activities. So all these are examples of environmental pollution, environmental impact that caused by producers. Just want to show you an example so you can get an idea. Okay, just don't worry about the graph. Okay, what I want to show is whenever there is a negative externality by consumer, let's say someone who smokes, okay, cigarette is sold in the market. It's a product. Okay, it's a product in the market. The society knows cigarette have negative impact on health. All right. So it will affect our well-being. Our well-being will be reduced by someone else's action. So if you look at this graph, you have demand and supply. So the market demand, it means if the government don't intervene, cigarette is cheap, is available everywhere. The green demand and supply curve, this green one, blue demand, point A, is where the consumption is. The normal, when there's a free market. So we say just now, market should be free. So when you allow a cigarette market to be free without any intervention by the government, what happened? There will be consumption of Q1. Q1 is, you can see the consumption is, let's say, this is 0. 0 to Q1 is the amount of consumption. And it's not good. Many people are smoking around you because it's very cheap. It's available. There's no, government ruling that you cannot smoke in public area. So everybody's smoking. It's cheap. Children are also smoking. Imagine the environment. But since this product has impact on the consumer, negative impact, government can intervene, and most government intervene by imposing tax, excise tax I mentioned earlier, and putting condition you cannot smoke in public area. If you smoke, there is a fine, things like that. So when that kind of imposition that kind of policies are imposed, what happened is the demand will reduce because now the price of cigarette is high. It's difficult to smoke everywhere. There's awareness and things like that. So you see the red line is where the demand declined because of government intervention, government policies. So what the optimal amount? I mean, there will be people smoking anyway, whether secretly or not. Market sometimes even not sold in the market, they can get it somewhere. So let's say Q2 is what the society thinks the quantity is okay. You smoke, but on your own, not in public area, and it's very expensive. Only those who are really crazy about smoking will take it, and so on. So let's say Q2 is the optimal amount. So Q1 is if there's a free market. So the difference between Q1 and Q2 is what we call as overconsumption. So this is one example that to show that sometimes free market is not an optimal one. There should be some intervention by the government to regulate the market. Not in all cases the market can be allowed to function freely. One example. Another example is related to COVID vaccine. Okay, we know that many African countries, many other Asian poor countries, and also in Latin America to some extent, they did not get sufficient supply of vaccine, COVID vaccine. Why is that? The reason is because this vaccine is protected by intellectual property. This patented, owned by multinationals, certain multinationals. Now, there is discussion in WHO and WTO to allow countries to produce. Basically, the patent owners can sort of give license to local producers to produce. And this is called as voluntary licensing. But the patent owners were reluctant to give. They give only to some countries, not only Korea, Thailand, a few examples of countries that have got this license to produce. But it's not sufficient, especially in Africa. So many countries did not get. So what happened is when this happened, when there's without government intervention, if you allow the market to function, the amount produced is Q1. You see here, Q1. Okay, if you allow only the patent owners to produce, it's only Q1. It's not sufficient. What the market wants is QE. Okay, this graph is actually not the perfect one, but just I think you can sort of think about it. There's a shortage. Q1 is where the market is producing, because when there's a patent, there's a monopoly. What monopoly wants is high price. Okay, they want to make the maximum profits possible. So this is unethical, because they are not looking at the public interest, social interest. What is the social well-being of the people by having the vaccine at the lowest price and sufficient quantity? There's a shortage in vaccine market. Okay, those who have money have actually bought so much and kept it, and those who are slow and don't have much money don't get it. So there's a shortage. So therefore, without the government intervention, what is government intervention? In this case, what government could have done is by issuing compulsory license. I think in this COVID case they didn't do it. They didn't get the time to do it, and there are not many local producers, domestic producers have the capacity and capability to produce vaccine. They don't have the technology. Therefore, it is a bit slow. Only few countries got the license. That's voluntary license, not compulsory licensing. I hope I'm not confusing you. Compulsory licensing is license that are issued by the government without the consent of the patent owner. Voluntary licensing is where the government issue license with the consent of the owner. So there are many cases where the patent owner don't allow, for example, like AIDS medicine. There we have a compulsory licensing. Many governments have actually issued compulsory license, including Malaysia. We have once issued compulsory licensing. But in the case of COVID, because it's new, they were talking about voluntary licensing, allowing countries to produce. That's one part of it. Another part is we don't have the capacity. So what the society wants is QE, market equilibrium, QE. But what the market is actually producing is Q1. So there is a shortage. So I don't want to go into the economic discussion of efficiency and all that, but a little bit, just passing like that. You see the purple triangle? This purple triangle shows inefficiency. You remember just now I mentioned efficiency and so on. So if the people get what they want, there's a allocative efficiency, optimal amount, QE. If the vaccine is produced, QE, everybody gets. Any countries, any human being needs vaccine, all get it. There is QE. Market is in equilibrium. But what is being produced by the market is Q1. So there is a under production, under allocation of resources. So there is inefficiency, or we call it efficiency loss. Another word for efficiency loss is dead weight loss. Okay, so what I'm trying to show here is that sometimes in this case also, vaccine has positive externalities. It is good for the society, but the market is not producing enough, causing under allocation of resources that led to underproduction. So people who want it don't get it. Okay, so therefore in this case the market is not efficient. All right, which requires government intervention. In the case of vaccine, what is the government intervention? It could be, of course, vaccine is given free. Government have a given subsidy and buy it and given to the people for free. That's number one. Number two, also licensing, producing it. Okay, producing it by either in voluntary licensing or compulsory licensing. I hope I did not. You can ask me later to explain if you are interested more on this. Okay. All right. In summary, when there's a market failure, there is impact on resource allocation. When there's a negative externalities, okay, we call that as spillover cost. The impact on the resource allocation is that there will be overproduction. Just now remember I mentioned about overconsumption of cigarette. When it's produced, production is over. Like if it is let's say just now I showed photos of rubbish and waste, toxic waste and all that by industries. There's overproduction. They reduce the cost by polluting the environment, and as a result, they can produce more at the lower cost, and therefore there's overproduction because that's not what the society wants. It is beyond what the society wants. They produce a lot more at the expense of the negative impact on the society. There's over-allocation of resources. Positive externalities, either consumers or producers, leads to underproduction or underconsumption. And in terms of resource allocation, there will be under-allocation of resources. Okay, so I think now it's 10:27. I'm sorry I've taken so much time, but please ask questions. Maybe I can spend some time answering some questions. Sorry, Dr. Zera, I spent too much time, I think, talking.
No, it's okay, Prof. Okay, so thank you so much, Prof, for the interesting lecture, and thank you so much for sharing the knowledge with us today. Just to share with you, while going through some of the comments, we have our friends listening to your lecture from Pakistan, from Cape Town, from Kenya, from Indonesia, from Philippines, and I believe many other countries that I'm not able to mention today. Thank you so much. May Allah also bless your efforts of seeking knowledge with us today.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so it was indeed a very good lecture where we have been introduced to some basic economic concepts, and also we have been taught how to view this concept from Islamic perspective. I almost forgot my role as a moderator as I continue taking notes as a student. Right, okay, Prof. So maybe we can take a few questions from the floor.
Yes.
Maybe we can allow around 15 minutes Q&A session, then we can go for a break. Right. So the first question is there any difference between achieving equilibrium in conventional and Islamic economics?
Oh, yes. In Islam, equilibrium, okay, what is equilibrium? Equilibrium means where the demand is equal to supply in the market. So basically, it means, if you think logically, equilibrium means as a consumer, I go to market, I get what I want. And the producer, when they go to market, they sell what they want to sell. So there's an equilibrium, there's balance, there's no surplus, there's no shortage. So in Islam also, as I mentioned, Islam encourages free market. There shouldn't be any interference unless it is really necessary to interfere in the market. So there's no difference. Islam encourages free market to function efficiently. So it's the same. Equilibrium in Islam and equilibrium in Islamic, as far as I know, is the same. I think
thank you, Prof.
Yes.
All right. Second question is, please kindly shed more light on the difference between absolute and relative scarcity.
Okay. Okay, absolute means I don't have. I mean, scarcity means, okay, you see it clearly in front of your eyes. Absolute means we know for sure in terms of quantity. I mean, I don't have money, for example. It's absolute. I mean, I don't, we have land 10 acres. Okay, that's absolute. Relative means I have 10 acres, but, relative, relative 10 acres, but I can use it. How I'm going to explain it? Relative means it is a relative concept. We have it, but we are not using it. That's macam mana nak cakap? Absolute means is for sure. It's difficult for me to explain. I'm trying to think on how to explain it in a very simple way. Absolute means is obvious. It is absolute quantity and amount. But relative is a relative concept. You don't have it, for example, you only have 1 acre, but you can actually produce for 10 acres using technology, using your knowledge, using all the expertise that you have. You can actually produce for the 10 acres. You know what I mean? So it's even though it appears to be scarce, but by using the the technology that you have, the knowledge you have, you can actually produce more. So scarcity is actually a relative concept. It's not absolute in the sense. I hope it's clear. It's a relative concept.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Next is Islam defines the transaction is to achieve the blessings of Allah and profit in the hereafter. How to determine the fair profit that reflect a compassionate and benevolent nature?
When we are doing business, we know for sure what is the right price, what is the fair price for the product. If you are involved in business, you will know that when you are charging so much and people have difficulty to pay, then it's not fair. Overpricing, for example, there's a shortage. Oh, I'm going to make big profit out of it. You charge very high price. So then it is unjust to people. And compassionate benevolence means sometimes my family all are in business. There are some people who come to our shop that we give free, or sometimes we give cheap. Some people don't have enough cash, but they want the item. You give, never mind. You don't have to pay, or you can pay later, or you can pay installment. So you have this compassion, to make sure that even those who cannot afford can actually gain from your business. So business is not just to make money. So when you say just, it's very relative again. It depends on circumstances. But when we are benevolent and we have compassion in our heart, and we want to achieve the blessing of Allah, we'll always make sure in any activities that we do, we are doing it for the acceptance of Allah. So it's not just to make money. Money is just one of the objective, but profit and money shouldn't be the priority in our business activities. So compassion is important. Sometimes we give free, sometimes cheap. I remember recently when oil. My nephew was telling, for example, I just give you an example. He has a provision shop in a Malay village, where most of the people there are retirees. So I think Zara and Malaysians, I think we all know we have shortage of oil palm because of Indonesia imposed export restrictions on oil palm. And as a result, even though we are oil palm producing country, we are dependent on Indonesia because our plantation are actually in Indonesia. So when these resources are not coming, so there's a shortage. So as you know, cooking oil price went up quite a lot, by 10 ringgit or something. Went up a lot. Subsidy has been taken out. So the price went up a lot. So my nephew has a lot of stocks in his shop. Okay, he knows the price is going to go up. So when old people comes, he sell at a old price. Let's say last time was 20 ringgit. Now with the new price is 33 ringgit. Okay, that's how much the price have gone up. So he sold at 20 ringgit for all the retirees. So we said, then his mother was saying, oh, this much, like this, you will lose money. He said, no, actually, I don't lose money because I bought it at low price, at old price, not the new price. So that's compassion. So you see the person who have less money, retirees, you don't sell them at a high price because you know you got this item at the low price. So you don't want to sell at a new price. Unless you get it at high price, then you have to sell at high price. That's compassion. So I think that's very important when we do business, that we have that compassion and benevolence. And only then we can get blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
All right, thank you, Prof. I'll go to one more from Zoom, and then maybe I can take some from YouTube. Okay, so could you give a more and a simple and specified example of positive and negative externalities?
I thought I have given you quite clear. Okay, positive externalities, think like this. Anything we do, is there an impact on others? Consumers, for example, when I smoke, let's say I smoke and I smoke in front of everybody, children, old people, young people, women, pregnant women, everybody, I smoke. I don't care. So that's negative externalities. Okay, because my action is having impact on others in terms of health. That's positive. Negative externalities in terms of consumption. In terms of positive externality consumption, I showed you the example of the person planting flowers and cleaning. Like, for example, yesterday, our community here, we cleaned the whole area in our residence area. So that's positive externality because we are, cleaning up for other. We put our effort, but other people everybody benefits in the society. So that's positive externalities. Negative externality as a consumer, I throw rubbish. Like in school, we were cleaning in front of school yesterday. We got 8 big garbage bag because school kids, when they come out from the school, they don't have the ethics. Not like Japanese. In Malaysia, they just throw rubbish in front of the school, So when I walk in front of the school, I get like, oh my God, why so dirty? And then we have dengue. Dengue is an illness here in Malaysia because of all this rubbish being thrown freely like that. So that's negative externality when your action causes problem to others. Producers, you can see all the environmental impact, how the industries are just, doing all kind of stuff, which is throwing rubbish and throwing toxic waste. That's negative. Positive, by industries, maybe I didn't, something that I did not cover. Positive by industry. For example, if I have a bus company, so I have bus drivers. And I am a good employer. I train them, I send them for classes, I teach them the rules and regulation. I basically, my objective is to create bus drivers who follows the rules, who are very good, who are compassionate, who take care of the passengers, etc., etc. So, and then this bus driver resign from my company and go to another company. So this, basically, I am creating a positive externalities to other companies and also to the society because we have good bus drivers and other companies also benefit. They don't have to pay for training. This guy already, the driver is already trained. So that's positive externality by producer as an example. I hope that's clear.
Perhaps it can be a homework to the participant. You can go out from your house now and try to determine whether your neighbor producing positive or negative externalities.
Exactly.
Okay. So I'm taking one from our YouTube. Please give more explanation on Q1 and QE. I believe this is from your graph.
Q1, I think this is the last graph that I have given about the COVID vaccine. QE is the market equilibrium. It means what the society wants. How much, what is the quantity of vaccine needed by the world? Okay. But that's QE, equilibrium quantity. What people want, what the producers in a normal circumstances can actually produce and sell. Okay, so demand and supply is equilibrium at QE. But these monopolists, multinational companies, they control the production. They limit the production. You see, this is one of the character of monopolists. When they control the market, you remember vaccine is actually a monopoly. So what they, even though it's oligopoly, but we call that monopoly, what they do is to charge high price, they reduce production. They give all kind of excuse lah. They reduce production. That's Q1. So they produce less than what the market need, what the market equilibrium is actually is. Remember, QE is also in terms of supply. They can actually produce that quantity, but they purposely limit the production so that they control the market and can charge high price. Understand? So QE is the we call it market quantity. QE is what the producers are producing. Okay, the quantity is produced by the market. QE is optimal amount. Am I losing the? Okay, QE is the optimal amount. I hope I make it clear, because you see the problem with the monopolies, they really reduce production, and they can actually produce more, but they are not. Okay, so there's a gap there. So there's underproduction. It's a very pity. I mean, you can start reading on if you're interested in this vaccine issues. It's very interesting. A lot of things are going. I mean, at that time, it's a pity that many countries did not get the vaccine. And people, I cannot say countries. People did not get vaccine.
Right. The next question is quite a country-specific kind of question, but maybe it's good to listen or to hear your opinion. How visible do you think Islamic economic concepts can strive in Africa?
Not only Africa is having problem. Everybody is having problem. I think the main problem, there are two parts to this. I mean, if you look at economy as a whole, there are three important agents: consumers, producers and sellers, and the government. If these three agents behave and act accordingly, according to the Islamic principle, inshallah, the whole world will be a wonderful place to live. But the problem is, these three, including government, they have greed, self-centered, individualistic, and do not have sufficient, have morality issues. Even throwing rubbish, it has simple thing like that. Is actually related to morality. So in terms of consumption, producers, government, politicians, all this, if you look at it, the reason why the world, I'm not saying Africa, the whole world, including America and Europe, why the whole world is having problem is because the main fundamental problem is the greed, morality issue. The Islamic principles are forgotten by many. I mean, we are talking about Muslims. We ourselves, many of us have forgotten what is the basic fundamentals. When we do, whether there's externalities or not, whether it follows the Islamic principles or not, what are the, what is our life objective in this world? Allah's blessings is not the priority in many of the actions. That's why we have problems. So whether there's any possibility for Africa to become Islamic countries or not, it all depends on the people. Even in Malaysia, we have a lot of issues. I'm sure you have heard the last week, what are the things that are happening in the country, corruption cases and so on. So all this actually is related to morality. So don't look at politicians, we ourselves as individuals. What are the action, when we take any actions, what is the main fundamental objectives of that action? Then inshallah. I think such, okay. What are some things written there? Okay, all right.
All right. So maybe one last question before we end the Q&A session. Please, can you explain further what do you mean by the term dead weight loss?
Dead weight loss, why is it called dead weight loss? I always tell my students, I wonder what is. I never really looked into what is the cause, why the term is dead weight loss. But I believe that weight loss is something is lost without any compensation. So basically it means, you remember I mentioned in class topic number 1, when we have resources, the objective of using the resources in satisfying human needs is to use the resources efficiently. So when resources are not used efficiently, or whether because of overproduction or underproduction, for whatever reasons, maybe positive externalities or negative externalities, then what happened is something happened here. So what happened is there will be loss, efficiency loss. Okay, so efficiency loss can happen because of overproduction or underproduction. So that weight loss is efficiency loss. To what in economics we always like to measure. So it's not accurate, but basically give an indication, ideas, how much efficiency loss has taken place because of certain action in the market, whether it's underproduction or overproduction. So there will be efficiency loss when market is not in equilibrium, when there's no optimal output produced. So what are the amount of efficiency that has been lost? So it's basically the economists trying to quantify, they quantify how much efficiency loss because of inefficiency, because of underproduction or overproduction. Okay. It's the same meaning. That weight loss and efficiency loss is the same meaning.
Okay.